Okay, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Sam Ko from Oregon Department of Education. Thank you for participating in today's webinar regarding the survey gizmo for Title I-D data collection for the Consolidated State Performance Report. Consolidated Performance State Report. So on your screen, you should be able to see the PowerPoint presentation. Is really short. Talks about the survey gizmo. So it's a collection tool developed by NDTAC for states to collectively and easily collect the data for this federal data collection for sites that receive Title I-D. So, and on your screen is actually the full version of it, and as you can see, there's a lot of sections. There's about 63 pages of it. Title I-D is only a part of it. It's right here. There's also Title I-A, Migrant Ed. There's graduation and so forth, and rural education. So ours is just a small part of the entire statewide data collection that we have to submit. And so it starts on page, just like here, other OD has to collect other data from other programs. We just collect ours, which was related to Title I-D, neglected and delinquent, and that's on page 35. So it starts here. So and then 1D is for prevention and intervention programs for children and youth who are neglected, delinquent, or at risk. And so, and then the programs are adult corrections, at-risk programs, juvenile corrections, juvenile detention facilities, neglected programs, or other. Okay, so and then here are the if people could put their phones on mute, please. Sounds like a ringer or something. So as you can see, these are the data elements or data tables that the feds are requesting, and then so forth. So luckily, we have NDTAC who developed Survey Gizmo because it'd be very painstaking for states and myself to collect Excel documents or Word documents from 9 different YCEP and 47 different long-term care treatment sites, and then to calculate and add everything into these tables. So that's why we have the Survey Gizmo. As it says, is to help states and Title I-D collect the data from grantees. Oops. Now this data is required for each program separately. For instance, so the way it flows is we send the collection tool to you guys. You guys complete the online tool. I get the data collected, and then I submit it to the USD. Well, I submit it to the program coordinator for all, and then they will send it all to USDOE. And then and then when we do the survey, for those of you that have multiple institution numbers or multiple sites, we're asking one survey per site. So, and Candace, Tristan, Wendy, none of you have multiple sites, so it's just one survey per site. Okay. What does a completed one look like? So after you submit, I have to add everything in here, you know, and then I have to tabulate and everything. Now, what's critical is what my job is. I have to ensure, like, if everyone says that there's 1,628 students, then when you add up all the ethnicities, the totals add up. For instance, and if we have 1628, then the ages all need to add up and so forth. So that's why, as you can imagine, when they don't add up, for me having to find which facility is not adding up is painstaking. It is very painstaking. So that's why that's with this tool. It helps me figure out what's going on. And these are all the data elements that they ask for, and so forth. Then this is last year's submission. Any questions before I continue? No questions? Okay, some of the questions that I've gotten via email are, what's the difference between the CSPR survey gizmo and the child count survey gizmo? Okay, so the child count survey gizmo is very simple, and all we're asking for is you know, what's your name of your school district, ESD, so forth. And then we're just asking for your enrollment numbers for March 18, April 29, May, so forth, and November for long-term care treatment. And then what I do then is I tabulate everything, and then I figure out what's the date with the highest enrollment to get our the most money from the feds as possible. It may be March 18, it may be May 27, but I won't know until I collect all the data and send it to the feds, and then collect all the data and pick. And then once I send the data to the feds in January, or I think it's in December, then we'll get the funding that I sent to the feds in January will be our allotment for next school year. So that's the Title 1D child count. YCEP does not have to do this because we have a student information system, Synergy, and Jules does it automatically for them. But for long-term care treatment, because we don't have a statewide system, we can't do it. Now, for the CSPR, this is exactly what the survey looks like. It has instructions and and resources, and you would select, if you're long-term care treatment, you select neglected. If you are YCEP, you would click juvenile corrections, and so forth. And if you notice here, below each question, there's a frequent and question, some guidance. So for average length of stay, there's some information. And then here's, everyone always asks, what's the definition of long-term students for CSPR, and it's 90 days. Oh, I just saw it the other time. Right here. For instance, everyone asks, what is the definition of long-term? Refers to students who are enrolled for at least 90 consecutive calendar days from July 1 through June 30th. So the data we're looking for is from July 1 to June 30th of last school year. Okay? And then you'd put that in. And it's pretty self-explanatory. And then there's, yep. And then page 6, number of kids with the post-test. And then the post-test and pre-test, you get that from Let's Go Learn. Yep. You get that from Let's Go Learn. Yep. And then this is page 9. Thank you, and so forth. Any questions on anything, on the CSPR or the child count survey? And I'm looking at the chat, there's no questions so far. Oh, and then in that email, I also sent, if you still have questions while doing the survey, the ND Tax reporting guide, and then they have questions and answers and so forth. So you can look at it and so forth. I know it's a little complicated. But with the survey gizmo, we try to make it as simple as possible. You don't have to really go through this entire manual. I don't know how many pages it is. 46 pages manual. You know, that's why we're using Survey Gizmo instead of a Word or Excel document. Okay. So does anyone have any questions? No questions? I'm going to type in any questions. Okay.
Someone typed in a question. Everything looks the same as it has in the last couple of years that we've been doing this. There's been no changes.
There might have been a few changes, but if there's any changes, it's minor. It's minor. Yep. Okay, here's a good question. Someone said, can you enter any or just don't report things that do not apply? Put 0. You have to put 0. Good question. Put a 0. Yeah. What happens is I need to go in and then I need to put in 0. Just like here, for like 19, 20, 21-year-olds, if you leave it any or whatever, I have to go in and put in a 0. And then I have to put in zeros. If there's blanks, USDOE will bounce it back, and we have to do everything again. Now, with this data, this is what USDOE uses it for. They not only use it for reporting, but they use this data to go to Congress to continue to advocate for continuing funding for this program. So on the neglected and delinquent webpage, if you can click Oregon, and as I did here already, and you can see our data, and so forth. And as you know, unfortunately, because of our costs are going down, our funding goes down. So student participation by so forth. In Oregon, unlike other states, juvenile detention falls under subpart 2. So because they are under county, YCEP and long-term care treatment are considered state, so that's why there's subpart 1 and so forth. And then from the demographic data, they report it here and so forth. So, and there's other areas where you can find their data and so forth. So, in other words, do you just put in anything? No. You need to be as accurate as possible, because the data you report actually gets reported. So then, for instance, like when we say long-term students improve 1 grade level from pre 253, 30, 37, that's good. But then 30, out of 1,087, that's not the greatest, right? For math and so forth. And then 1 grade level, 11, that's great. And then when we say 68 kids had no change, that's really bad, yeah? And when we say negative, when we have 32 kids or 22 kids that actually regress after the pre and post from the pre-test, that's not good. Yeah. So those are some of the questions that so that's what our data tells us. Any other questions?
This is Candace. I just have a question. Theoretically, if you're saying it's 90 days, that you shouldn't be showing any kids that entered, say, after April, because they would have to have entered by April to be counted in the 90 days, even though they stay, on past that. So.
No, but then if you had kids that came in February, suppose you have a kid that came in May and stayed with you through October, and that's 90 days.
Okay. But just looking at the parameters of the year, July 1st through June 30th.
And that coincides with the fiscal year.
Yeah.
And that also coincides. That's one reason. I'm sorry. That's one reason why our contracts don't go from September 1 through June 30th. It coincides with the fiscal year because the feds require the data from a fiscal year, July 1 through June 30th. And for YCEP, they're year-round, so their actual school year starts July 1.
Okay. As did ours, I thought, also.
Right, even long-term care treatment, yes. But some, they don't have a summer program, or they don't educate during the summer.
So kids that come into our program, say, early June, I probably wouldn't count them then to the following year, correct?
No, okay, suppose a kid comes in to your program on June 20th, right?
Right.
Then you won't count them in that current year, but then you would count them for the following year.
Okay.
If they stayed 90 days, yep.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions? And Candace, you remember doing this last year, correct?
Oh, yes. Yeah, but then with that comment, I'm going to not just look at last year. I'll have to go back and look, late spring, early summer to make sure I picked up those kids, too, in this count.
And this is something that happens every single year.
Yep, it rolls.
Yep. And then in the years past, hopefully the survey gizmo is easier than others. Yep.
It is.
Yep, from the years past.
Yeah.
Any other questions? I'll count to 3. 1, 2, 3. No questions? And even the survey gizmo for child count, no questions too, right? No? Okay. Thank you for participating. And hopefully, if others have... Oh, here's a question that came up. Somebody said, what if they put an error? Instead of redoing it, I'll ask them to send that data to me, and I can probably just put in that. I can probably update it. Yeah, that way you don't have to. What I don't want you to do is to go and start a brand new survey and start all over from the beginning. Yep. Any other questions? No? Okay, thank you everybody. And if you have any questions or things come up, feel free to give me a call or email me. Okay, thank you. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Bye.